many people sending me very concerned messages. Is it time to start stressing out about the Rams? And I am shaking my head no on this one. I've got Dice, Nelson, and Cry Uncle. And we will lock all of these things together, and that will be the foundation for this Maller monologue. Now, number one. So there is no need to stress out about it. It's wasted emotion. The Rams have gone all in. They have put the dream team together, the envy of everyone else around the NFL. You can tell when people talk about the Rams how jealous they are of the assemblage of talent that has formed Voltron in Los Angeles, and the Rams verifying that roster is loaded by winning the NFC West, the toughest division in football. And Von Miller and Odell Beckham, they traded for Von Miller, picked up Odell Beckham off the waiver wire, free agency, and those were the big in-season adjustments. And so the Rams have thrown caution to the wind. And so they're the NFC West champs. That's not the goal. The goal is to go on a run in the playoffs, and ultimately, if you look at the Rams objectively, and you're not going to find any more objective person when it comes to the Rams than me. All right. The Rams, even though they win the division, they're the perfect definition of a wild card. And when you think about the joker in the deck, the roll of the dice, unpredictable, right? You ever play craps? It's unpredictable. You might think you know what's going to happen, but you don't know. It's a roll of the dice. The Rams could come out and roll snake eyes, or they could come out and roll boxcars and double sixes, and they're on their way. But literally and figuratively, every option is on the table. And that's why the Rams are scaring a lot of people, because Sean McVay's team has enough talent to win the whole enchilada. The Green Bay Packers are not more talented than the LA Rams. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not more talented. There's nobody, Kansas City, there's nobody in the NFL that is more talented than the Rams. Now, does that mean they're going to win? It's like they're not guaranteed of winning anything. The Rams are all over the map. That's why they're the ultimate roll of the dice, because the Rams could come out and forget how to tackle and take a ride on the vomit comet and lose the first game. That's highly unlikely. This is a very good matchup for the Rams. And knowing that you get to play Alligator Arms Kyler Murray, someone who the Rams have a good book on, and they know how to stop him. Now, whether they actually do it or not, that's up to them, but they know the book. Kyler Murray's not a hard player to stop. I think we've seen teams, he's worn down as the seasons have gone on. He's someone you can defend, and typically gets off to a good start, and his body can't handle the rigors of the NFL, and he is a lesser player as the season goes on. Now, secondly, on cue, the trolls have crawled out from behind the refrigerator, as we anticipated, after the Rams' loss to the 49ers. And the usual hacks are pointing fingers at Matthew Stafford like Nelson from The Simpsons, and they're going, ha ha, and all that, mocking the Ram quarterback. And they're dancing around and having a grand old time, but these are just trolls. That's what trolls do. The Rams, according to these idiots, made a mistake by trading for Matthew Stafford. After all, they tell us he sucks and he blows. A lot of talking heads have convinced a lot of low-information fans that the Rams have made a mistake. They have a deep investment in Matthew Stafford being bad. It doesn't fit the narrative that it's wrong that Matthew Stafford has been as advertised. Now, he's not perfect, but he is a better quarterback than Jared Goff. The Rams got a upgrade. They got out of the Jared Goff albatross of a contract. And if you asked Sean McVay and gave him true serum, he would tell you, I'd make the trade again, right? I mean, imagine that Matthew Stafford, according to these experts that wear makeup on television, is such a dog with fleas. Here's what he did his first season in Los Angeles. He completed 67% of his passes for 4,886 yards, averaged over 8 yards per attempt, 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, a passer rating of 102.9. Boy, it's a terrible season. Matthew Stafford, by the way, just set a franchise record for passing yards. He surpassed Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner. They're making movies about Kurt Warner, and he had set the previous high back in the Greatest Show on Turf days when he was the MVP of the entire league back in 2001, 21 years ago. And more importantly, what Stafford did here was he unlocked the cheat code to Cooper Kupp, who went out and set the Triple Crown. He has the Triple Crown for a wide out. Cooper Kupp, who was just a middling number 3 slot receiver with Jared Goff, but with a real NFL quarterback, Cooper Kupp turned out to be an amazing game breaker at the wide out position. And Matthew Stafford led the Rams to the NFC West title, 12 wins in the toughest division in football. But he's a bum. He's a bum. Playing the Cardinals twice, the 49ers twice, and the Seattle Seahawks with future Hall of Fame quarterback Russell Wilson and Hall of Fame coach Pete Carroll. And yet, L.A. stands on top of the mountain. Toughest division in football. All right, final point. So then you have Sean McVay, who had been 45-0 when leading at halftime, but the 49ers put the first negative mark on his record. So Sean McVay now has to settle for 45-1. That's a .978 winning percentage when leading at halftime. And we mentioned that the 49ers have been the kryptonite for Sean McVay. He is 3-9 against Kyle Shanahan, who's not even a great coach, and the Niners. That's a .250 winning percentage. Against the rest of the NFL, the rest of the league, Sean McVay is 52-16. That is a .765 winning percentage against everyone else. But the people blaming Matthew Stafford are uneducated on football for this loss, because the Rams lost against the 49ers because of their defense. In the second half, they were absolutely manhandled. They were putty for what the 49ers wanted to do. And Raheem Morris, his job ought to be on the line, the defensive coordinator, unable to stop the bleeding. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, a load of playmakers on defense. And nobody had a clue on how to consistently step up for the balance of the second half in that game. And as a result, we'll see what happens. But I will tell you, there is a silver lining. If the Rams don't win the Super Bowl, you've got to think that Raheem Morris is going to be out. And I hope the Rams cry uncle, as in Uncle Vic Fangio, who was fired by the Broncos over the weekend. He's a marginal head coach, but an elite defensive mind. And that would be the big prize down the line. But first, we've got to get through the playoffs and all that. As for the Niners, now they are actually set up to make a little bit of noise here in the playoffs. They play the Cowboys, and nobody's concerned about the Dallas Cowboys. Anybody who knows football knows that's a weak Dallas team. Their big wins are against the Eagles, who are. Does anyone think Philadelphia's that good? I mean, nobody that knows football. So 2 wins against the Eagles. Then they beat the Patriots. That's it. Those are the 3 big wins. That I believe those are the only playoff teams they beat. They beat the Chargers, but Los Angeles did not qualify for the postseason. So the only playoff teams that the Cowboys beat were the Eagles in the division and the Patriots. Not a very impressive resume. And the Niners, the way they play, assuming they can run the ball the way they have been able to most of the second half of the season. I mean, Dallas is a glamour team. They got a bunch of show ponies on that team. You'd have to think the Niners punch him in the mouth, and Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott will start sucking their thumb in the fetal position. It's not a very tough football team, the Dallas Cowboys. So that is set up for the Niners to shock the world and add to the misery of Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. But we will keep an eye on all that. All right, it is the Ben Maller Show. Let's hear from Sean McVay, who says it is not time to get out the balloons and the cake.
In the moment right now, Gary, this is a tough feeling. Our guys did a good job being able to navigate through the season. To be able to still win the division is a good accomplishment, but I don't know that right now is the time to celebrate that. We'll look at this film, we'll clean it up, and we'll move forward the right way. This is a resilient group.
Got to clean it up. Got to get some bleach out, clean it up, make the smell go away. All right, here's Matthew Stafford, who points out you might want to do things a little bit differently when the playoffs start.
Coming back next week and playing better and rallying and making sure that, we're ready to go, which I know we will be. Got a bunch of, good leaders on this team, guys that are, veteran players that have played in a lot of football games. So just got to come back, and play better next week.
All right, now here's one more from Matthew Stafford, who points out that you have to be like the bamboo. The bamboo bends but does not break, right? You've got to be able to bounce back. And here's Stafford on that.
Continue to battle. That's what it takes to win games in the playoffs. There's no question. You gotta play good football, but you gotta be resilient too. And right now it's testing us. We lost a football game that had chances to win and would have felt great winning that game and winning the division the way we wanted to win the division. But we're a resilient group and we'll be ready to go.